Okay, so real quick, well, we'll see how quick it is. Do a high level recap. So the very beginning, you all made your way onto a quest that sent you to like the very edge of a region where you were to hunt down and find a noble son. The area was known to be kind of ruled or contaminated or cursed, however you want to say it, by this like ancient evil. Um, Upon exploring, you came across, a few undead zombie things, killed them, made your way to this graveyard where you fought a ogre, also undead. You found some other things. Everything was undead. You fought like this big nasty troll witch, who you vanquished, but she cursed you upon where you had all blacked out and you woke up in an area in which you had no idea where you were. Um, After traveling west through woods and a creepy gate, you made your way to an odd looking house where you followed two children, or you met two children who directed you inside the house to kill a monster. Um, Inside the pretty much vacant, ornate like house, you unraveled the mystery of the fact that it was basically owned by kind of like a death cult, who used the basement and crypts below as rituals to sacrifice, the unknowing, basically. You also found out that there was someone that they worshipped known as Strahd von Zarevich. Um, You made it down to the very bottom of the crypt where you excited a shambling mound and defeated it. Luckily, no one died. You stopped a ritual by sacrificing some blood of a rat, um, kind of satisfying the demons and whatnot, spirits that were left there. You exited the house with some of the belongings thereupon: a helmet, some books, I believe a sword, and the will and some other papers. Then you made your way into the nearby town. The town was mostly vacant. There actually was no one in sight except for an individual that moved behind one of the buildings as you approached. That was wielding or pushing a wooden cart on the cobblestone. After walking around the town a little bit, you made your way into um, the inn where you met the not very talkative bartender there, who basically explained nothing to you. But luckily, in the same bar, in the same tavern, there was Ismark, who sat you all down, looking at all of you. Most of you were injured, barely making out of the house before. Um, Sat you all down and kind of told you a little bit of dilemma, but let you eat and drink on his tab. Um, Before getting into much of the business, he suggested that you move to his home, the home of his father, his late father, the Burgermeister. You made your way there to rest. That night, you saw some interesting things, had some interesting conversations, tried to steal some things as well. Um, you saw what is known to be the March of the Dead, where the spirits rise from the nearby graveyard and march westward. Um, Not much other information has been given at that point. Ismark talked to Selkar about some of the gods that are worshipped there, and a little bit more of the business they're dealing with his sister Irina, which you also met going into the house. The house also was very damaged, as it was basically said to have been assailed by these creatures, um, of the same Strahd von Zarevich that you heard of earlier. You come to realize that after Ismark uh, tells you basically that Strahd kind of rules this land, and this land is known as Barovia. It is a very just desperate dismal place where the sun does not shine. And fog envelops, the borders and the whole area. It seems to move. It seems to be um, living itself in the land. Ismark tells you that Irina, for some reason, Strahd is, very attracted and desires her, and has come to try to visit and take her away. He has not done so by force, but has visited her a couple times, where she does show you a wound on her neck. And this is where basically it explained to you that vampires are real, and that Strahd is a very powerful and old vampire, hundreds of years old. So basically, he tells you that the plight is to move Irina away from Castle Raven Holt, which is right directly above the village of Barovia where you're at. There's like this huge cliffside, and then the castle just kind of shadows the whole area. So upon agreeing to do this, because basically the only way that you've been informed to leave this area is that you have to go through Strahd, or Strahd is the key to do that, as he seems to, kind of rule the land. You've actually heard that he is ancient, he is the land, a few times when they're talking about Strahd himself. So, with that being agreed upon, Irina asks for you to bury the late Burgermeister. So you go to the chapel and you do the deed after finding that the priest Donovich has gone almost insane. He's locked up his son somewhere underneath the church, and you're not sure exactly why, or he said he wasn't his son anymore. You didn't get a ton more detail on that before burying the Burgermeister, and Strahd arrived, inviting once again Irina to come with him. And at that instance, Ovok charged in, and Ismark right behind Ovok, and battle went on, and basically Strahd's power was revealed. He summoned the undead there in the crypt, and swarms of bats, and they all assailed you. Strahd didn't seem to be taking any damage. Selkar did notice that some of the strikes that were done to Strahd, there was a very quick, bright flash coming from the castle when he was struck, but no damage was dealt to him. It was shown that Strahd is powerful in the ways of Arcane, as he quickly charmed Ovok. Laszlo decided to disguise himself as Strahd within that fight, which some of the zombies ignored him in that. The bats were not fooled, as they still struck him. But at the end of the battle, Ismark was kidnapped, basically, and basically used as another chip to bring Irina of her own accord to the castle to join Strahd. After that, you decided to go by the Bildrath's Mercantile, where you picked up a couple things. You noticed everything was really expensive, and you also spoke to a Vistani, which you have learned that the Vistani have some sort of arrangement with Strahd himself, and they also have said that the Vistani, this is their land. This is Vistani's land. You're not sure what the arrangement is. They said that they kind of work for him. There's some sort of relationship there. After that, you moved on, went to the Burgermeister's house, and you did a short rest. And then you moved on, to your agreement of taking Irina to Valaki, where there is enemies of Strahd and allies to yourselves, and more answers. You've been told that Valaki is far larger and much more prosperous, as it is out of the reach, of Strahd, it seems. So you've embarked on the long journey to the west to get there. Irina gave you a nice, pretty little map to show you some of the high roads, but she's never trekked there before. She suited up in the, donned her bit of armor and her longsword, and has gone with you. You've, seen scarecrows and large bats and weird creepy dolls that have cursed you, and you finally have come to a crossroad where there sits a gallows, a wooden creaking gallows, and behind it a graveyard, um, surrounded by ruined walls.